What's going on, Surgeaholics? Welcome back, Sooner Surge podcast on this Tuesday night. I guess it is, Hunter. As the transfer portal is wide open, you got players going every which way. Appreciate everybody being on here already. As always, thanks so much for joining us. A lot of news today, Hunter, as far as the portal goes. Some big names for Oklahoma entering it. You had Dasan McCullough, you had Jalil Farooq officially in the portal. Just kind of your thoughts as we get going, Hunter.
Yeah, Dasan McCullough is a surprise. Like, not somebody that a lot of people would expect to enter the portal, but it happened with him. I didn't like the way that they used him. I mean, he was a freshman All-American at Indiana as a pass rusher. And then you get to Oklahoma, and you're trying to play cheetah at his size. If it works out, it's great, but it didn't. And then on top of that, he couldn't stay healthy. That was the biggest thing with him is just the injuries. Like he had a foot injury once, missed some time this year as well. Just when he was playing pretty good. And then the coverage part of it would happen with while he was playing cheetah. But it happens now. Oklahoma's going to have to go get somebody else to play cheetah in the portal. So.
Well, and Aaron says this comment, and I said it the other night, not one thing ever surprises me from the portal. Not one thing will ever surprise me. You could tell me tomorrow that Ryan Williams is portaling out of Alabama, and I'd be like, okay, he's probably going to go get money somewhere else. Nothing surprises me, Hunter. And here's the thing. OU's lost a lot already at the portal. But when you look at production-wise, like a lot of these guys that have, like McCullough, he didn't play a whole lot this year. When he played, like you said, he was good. He just hasn't played a whole lot, couldn't stay healthy. You could go down the list. Farooq the same way. I mean, good players. I think they're both really, really, really good players. I just don't think last year they didn't play a whole lot. And I still think it's a big, big loss to lose them. But it's almost like, and I think this is the way you got to start treating NCAA football as like NFL. Like, okay, who can we go get that'll fill that role? Maybe we can go get a guy better. Who knows? I'm just saying you got to look at it almost like free agents. Okay, who do we want? And I know the tampering stuff, like whatever. I just think that stuff's got to go on. I mean, silly to think it doesn't.
I don't know why it's still talked about. Like your favorite school does it too. Like everyone does it. Some people do it a little bit more than others, but I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So, and I saw Sooner WX asking about, like, with the new offensive coordinator, why are so many offensive players entering the portal? I think they were going to enter regardless of who they got.
I do too.
Type thing with how, injuries with everything else, it not going well. Sometimes change of scenery is good for you, and I don't think it was going to matter for some of those guys of who they hire them to stick around.
And Maddox, my day's been good. Hope yours has been good. Hey, I see some few comments on here I need to address. The whole, has Brent Venables lost the team? The whole, what's going on? There's something behind the scenes. OU's had a lot of guys transfer. It's not just OU. I mean, the transfer portal, it's everywhere. And it's going to continue to be that way.
It is.
Hunter, here's the thing. If you're a player, you go to a school, even if you have a good year, you could say, I'm going to go portal. And they might go make more money somewhere else. It's just, that's the way it is. There is no more, very rarely. And by the way, before we probably move on, we should say kudos to Danny Stutzman, all first team, all SEC, a guy that did stick it out every freaking year at Oklahoma. He never left. He could have left. He didn't. So there are a few guys like that, but I think it's a few and far between anymore, Hunter, that you're going to have a guy just roll through. I mean, it's just, there are some, but I think if you're a guy that's not playing a lot and a superstar, it's real easy just to hit the portal now.
Yeah.
It just is.
R. Mason Thomas also all SEC second team. Billy Bowman, third team. Ben Anderson, some love for the long snapper. He makes third team as well. So good for them. That's awesome. Danny Stutzman, very deserving of that first team. honor, and he might get another award.
Yeah, they haven't announced it yet, but
has not been
he could
announced.
win it.
I need to look at when that is. It's got to be in a week
Yeah,
or so. Usually,
well,
I mean,
it's
the
weird.
Huskers
Yeah,
Saturday,
because
like,
it's weird because of the games now. So I don't know when
Yeah.
they're going to do the awards, when that's going to actually be. Because usually you have that dead time in between the playoff, and now you don't have as much. So I don't know how that's going to work. And I would agree with a few comments on here, and this is one of them. I think Sooner WX or Sooner Freak said the same thing. I would disagree with the never contributed. There, some of those guys have very much contributed. Now, you want to say this year, Jackson? I agree with that. Like production wise, I think it's a production issue. They're still really good players. They were injured. A lot of it is injured, guys. That's it. A lot of these guys didn't play because they were injured. So here's the thing: it's all going to matter who you get out of the portal. You've got your recruiting classes in. Now, what do you do? Now, what do you do at the portal?
that's going to make or break
we'll
the season. That's going to set them up either to be in a very tough spot for next year from the jump, or to potentially have a good season. And then there's other things involved with it, like you got to win the football games, and you got to turn one of the worst offenses in the country into serviceable and maintain the defense, all of that. So
you might want to address this DJ comment too, because that's something we talked about before we went on.
Yes. So rosters are now down to 105. You get 105 total. Before it was you get 85 scholarships, which you still get that. You can also do up to 105 scholarships. I don't think that's going to happen at Oklahoma, because any scholarship you do for a men's sport, you have to have an equivalent scholarship for a women's sport. So that's either going to lead to, if you want to, because they're already going to fund baseball more because they need it more than anybody. Before they were sitting on 12 and 2/3 scholarships for over 40 players. Nobody's on full scholarship in college baseball. Now you get 34, so they're going to do that. And then softball also got an increase in that, so that can kind of even itself out some. So I would imagine Oklahoma sits at 85, maybe 86, 87. If they were really going to go to that 105 mark, you would have to cut a men's sport. And what sport are you going to cut? Can't really cut track because it's a team sport, men's and women's. Like, you can't really do that, like, because it's just not going to make you competitive. Wrestling, they're turning that around with Robert Ish and all of that. Mark Henry's son, a freshman at OU there. So 85 is a scholarship limit. And that's across the country, Michael. That's not just the SEC. That's everybody. 85 was the limit. You can now go to 105. But the big thing is, I mean, before you would have OU doesn't have men's rowing, Jackson. So that's
you're right. I mean, they're going to
everyone, like Matt Rule said it, you're cutting 50 guys. That's what has to happen. It sucks. It sucks for the walk-ons that go in every day and bust their butt to be there and to help their team. And now they don't have a roster spot anymore, and you're seeing some of those guys enter.
Yeah. And I saw the comment about Jeremy and Farooq. I don't know. When Jeremy gets on here in a little bit, you can ask him that question. If he can still say he's writing about Farooq, he'll be joining us in a minute. Jackson, I saw your comment on Van Buren. Here's my thing. And I've heard the stuff about Mensa too. I think if you're OU and you're in the spot OU's in at quarterback, to me, if you're going to go get a quarterback of the portal, it needs to be somebody that's more experienced than a freshman. You already have that in Michael Hawkins. And in fact, Michael Hawkins is a very similar style to probably Van Buren and Mensa. I don't know, Hunter. I just think if you're going to go get a portal quarterback, I would think they would go get somebody that is more experienced. Now, the fan stop says that thing with the SEC. I don't know if
I looked it up. Sorry.
Yeah. What did you say? 105?
I said 105. I didn't realize that the SEC did their
85.
own. I'm not sure how I missed that, because I've been seeing a lot of the stuff on all this house settlement. So apologies about that. Yes, 85 for the SEC, 105 across the board. But even if it wasn't 85 for the SEC, I wouldn't imagine Oklahoma would go over that by any, and if they did, it would only be a couple spots.
Hey, and Sooner WX, if there was a game tomorrow, nobody's saying these receivers that have entered the portal would play. You can,
Yeah.
just because they're portal doesn't mean they're ready to play today.
There's no
mean-
there's no rule that says you can't transfer while being injured or still recovering from injury.
Now, here's the thing, and I will be very interested to see where players like. I think Nick Anderson will probably end up at an SEC school, but I wonder about Jalil Farooq, where he's going to end up. You look at some of the others that have entered the portal. It'll be interesting to see what they do, and then also, what's OU going to do at wide receiver? Okay, we don't even know if the portal damage is done yet, but what they've lost already, what are they going to do at wide receiver? They got to go get some guys, because if you look at their roster, a lot of those guys are freshmen.
Correct.
And didn't contribute last year. So
Brent talked about it in his press conference after signing day last, Wednesday, December 4th, like 84 freshmen and sophomores that they're expecting back, which that number is going to fluctuate a little bit with I'm assuming walk-ons are included in that, because you're not going to have 84 scholarship players in just 2 classes. So going to be a little bit different there. But yeah, they're going to have to get probably 3 at the minimum wide receivers in the portal. And that's just assuming that the other guys follow suit. They haven't yet, but possibly could happen there. I think a better chance
who knows
them returning. And yes, it's 5 right now. You have Nick Anderson, Jalil Farooq, JJ Hester, Jaquez Petaway. Am I missing somebody?
JJ Hester, Jalil Farooq, Nick Anderson, Petaway.
I guess it's just 4 then.
Maybe there's 4. I'm trying to think if we're missing one, but off the top of our head. Hey, T-Bill.
Yeah, 4.
I don't know. I would assume they're going to tell any recruit. I mean, who knows? I could see that happening, that Mateer's coming, but who knows when that's going to be announced, if that's going to be announced, if it even happens.
John Mateer is not in the transfer portal.
Yeah, he's not in the portal. That's right. You can tell people whatever you want.
I think people should be under the assumption that he is not going to Oklahoma until he puts his name in the portal.
Correct. And purple, you're right. Ivan Carrion, Brennan Thompson, Jacob Jordan, Zion Ragan, Zion Kearney. Those are the type of guys. Those are the guys that are going to be playing in the bowl game.
If I were picking the 3 starters at wide receiver for the bowl game, I would go Ivan Carrion, Zion Kearney, and Jacob Jordan. That would be my 3.
Yeah, and I got a question.
Get 2 of those 3.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about this. The Williams Neri stuff. He got that bank year 1 and said, I'm out. I'm going to go make more bank. And let me ask this question. And you could probably look it up. We don't need to right now. But I would be willing to wager. I don't know if this had to do with Daniel's comment or not, Daniel Brooks, but what do you think the percentage of guys that have transferred at least twice being successful?
Being successful.
Like getting really good production on their 3rd or 4th team.
I mean, Dylan Gabriel has.
That's what I'm saying. There's probably a handful, but I don't think it's very often. Like there's guys in the portal, Hunter, that I've looked at because I saw them in the portal. And I go look at them. I'm like, wait, school number 4? Are you school number 3? It's like, whoa. I mean, at some point you got to think, okay, maybe there's a reason they're in the portal 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Man, who was that wide receiver from North Texas? Blanking on the name. DT Sheffield or something?
Sheffield, I think. Sure. That sounds right, Hunter. I don't have it in front of me. Yeah, Bear Alexander's a perfect one. Danny. Bear Alexander's a perfect name for that.
Yeah.
And you got guys like Hatchett going back to his previous school. What if he would have just stayed there last year? How much better would he have been?
DT Sheffield, he's been at 3 schools. He was a JUCO guy, briefly went to Washington State for a few games and then to North Texas. And I mean, he was a very talented receiver at North Texas that I'm going to go out on a limb and say a lot of schools are going to want him in the transfer portal, maybe even OU.
Well, the whole North Texas stuff, all the smaller school stuff, to me, what you have to look up more than that is who's going after him. And I think that's what you got to really, because if you're the only big school going after him, might not be the guy to get. Now, if you have a bunch of SEC schools going after a guy, I think maybe a lot of the people are seeing the same evaluation of talent as you are. I don't know. And somebody asked, Robert asked, where's D? Where's the other D? I don't know. He'll be on here soon. If you want to stay on and watch, Robert, D, and D will all be on here when he'll be on in a minute. So if you want to stay and watch that.
Sheffield, a couple SEC offers today. Mississippi State and Arkansas. Oklahoma State.
No, Hunter, say that again. You said SEC offers.
SEC, yeah.
They're in the conference. No, Hunter.
They're still in the conference.
No.
SEC offers.
Hunter, when you say Tennessee,
yeah, I get
Ole Miss, Georgia, to me, that I could care less who Mississippi State offers. I could care less who Arkansas offers. Because if that's what you want to be, just my thoughts. I don't know. Jay Mosh, we will drop it a little bit later tonight. We'll drop the phone link a little bit later.
A lot of people talking about Bauer Sharp in the chat. Yes, he did he had a lot of SEC offers. And
well, look at this. Happy birthday, Teresa.
Yeah, happy birthday. And Sharp is visiting what? SEC school, right?
Auburn.
I think it's Auburn.
Yeah. Auburn. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Chuck. First Chester, thanks for the super saying happy birthday to Teresa. Have a good birthday, Teresa. That's awesome. Chuck, what do you think the portal guys are asking? Are you talking about what do you think they're asking for money? What do you think they're asking as far as clarify the question? Unless you know what he's talking about, Hunter. Maybe you can clarify what he's asking. I
would assume they're just what they're asking in general in the school. It's going to be a lot of things like now with NIL, what NIL package is that school going to give you? What's their path to getting you to the next level? How are they going to develop you so that when you do get to the next level, you're set up for success? Academics as well. Like, there's a lot of things questions that are going to be asked. So
yeah, but you know what? This whole portal thing's got me on something that really bothers me about a portal. I'm going to throw an example out there. Sometimes if guys would just stick it out and fight their butt off for competition and try to win jobs, they would have a way better career. And I'm going to throw, for example, the quarterback that left Ole Miss, Walker Howard. Before that, where was he at? LSU?
LSU, correct.
LSU. Then he went to Ole Miss, didn't play at Ole Miss. Now he's going to Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns. He went from LSU, the state school of Louisiana, and now he's playing for Louisiana. Because what happens if you stick it out and try to win a job?
Well,
I just think it's
a lot of guys you can't blame for entering the portal. Like for the money part of it, like, yeah, get your money. Like people are willing to pay as much money as they're willing to pay to an 18 to 22-year-old college football player. Like, yeah, they'd be dumb not to go in there and or threaten to go in there to either leverage it for more money from their current school or go elsewhere and get more money. Like a lot of guys you can't blame. And yeah, the competition part of it, that's just part of the game. So, I mean, that's how it's changing now. Like with money attached to it, it's a lot harder to pay for guys to compete. But when you're paying for guys with a limited salary pool to then not play when they don't win their position battle or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, Sooner Freak 29 says, oh, yes, young wide receivers. Why didn't any play? That makes me think there's well, a lot of them did play. Reagan's played a lot. Kearney played. Jacob Jordan played. Who am I missing? Carry-on didn't play.
Eli Bowen was.
He's talking about wide receivers.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, sorry.
But Carry-on didn't play, but a lot of them did. They just didn't produce. That's the problem. And Chief, thanks so much for the super. Greatly appreciate it, man. Really do. Says today's players are weak sauce. Transferring every year for BS reasons is killing the sport. I hate it. If you get a great class, you just lose after year one. Makes me sick. Listen. It is the new age of college football. It's not going to change. I do wish there were some way you could somehow put contracts in place. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I will say I probably won't. But what I'll say is that it is frustrating. Like even in a Nwaneri case for Missouri, even when you sign great classes, there's a possibility you may have that player 1 year. You have to recruit them over and over and over again throughout the season. It's got to be a constant thing. Otherwise, they'll leave. And it might be because they lost playing time. It might be because your teams didn't play very well this year. It might be because you don't like the way the coach is doing. It may be because you want to go get more money. There's so many reasons why people are leaving. Nobody knows why everybody's leaving, but there's the Missouri guy, Nwaneri. It's not like he didn't make good money. He made great money in Missouri. And is he leaving because of playing time? Is he leaving because he didn't like the culture or he didn't like the coach? Or is he leaving because he wants more money somewhere else? I don't know. Nobody knows what's happening behind the doors about maybe Nwaneri got a lower rating this year and said, we're not going to pay you as much. Nobody knows. Okay. So, but there's a ton of reasons players leave and it's never going to change. I don't like it a whole lot either, Chief, but it's not changing. You got to get on with it. If you're OU, you got to get on board with the portal and you got to go make portal moves and you got to try to get better. That's what it's about.
Correct.
Whether you like it or not, that's the way the day and age is. And guys, the Bill Belichick hire at North Carolina, I was surprised by it. I actually think he's going to be a really good college coach. He can use some of the same pro principles.
My only hesitancy with Bill Belichick as a college coach is how is an 18 to 22-year-old going to react to as tough as Bill Belichick is?
I don't know, but I'm sure you saw the meme going around Twitter today.
I did not. I can.
It was just a picture. It was just
a
picture.
Together. I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
You know where I'm going. Okay.
Yes.
We won't say it then. We won't say it on air. But it was pretty funny. And who's the worst loss to the portal so far? That's a great question, Dowpost. I think for production for OU for next year, the biggest loss so far,
Nick Anderson.
Probably Nick Anderson, obviously. I think him and Farooq both at wide receiver
Nick
because
Anderson
they could have used him.
A freshman All-American, had 798 yards receiving and 10 touchdowns a year ago. So
the problem is they just haven't. He wasn't healthy year one either, Hunter. He's only had 1 year that he was healthy. That's the only thing.
Correct. Yeah.
So Dasan, I think Dasan would have been Jenna. I think Dasan is a really good player. I just think, he's been there 2 years, injured both years. He had injuries both years. It's unfortunate. It stinks. But he did. So who'd tell what if you'd have told me right now that Dasan next year would be fully healthy, I'd say that's a huge loss. It's a massive loss. But I don't know if he would be. That's the thing. Well, I think a lot of people got the Bill Belichick because it's all in the chat now. So yeah. I guess I didn't say anything at all. They just got
went way too far. Like once
I didn't say anything.
Well, but they put it together. Well, now it's
Dasan. Is this in order? See, a lot of people are saying that the Caleb Hicks thing, but he never played it down. How's that a big loss? He never. Played.
It's
a loss if they would have played him because I think he's really good.
On the what if, yes, like what if he got?
I agree. Why didn't he play though, Hunter?
Really good in the spring game and then doesn't play. I don't know. I'm not at practice. I don't know what's going on, but it's now been multiple years in that running back room where guys that are doing well aren't playing. There was another guy this year, Xavier Robinson, didn't play until fourth quarter of the Missouri game. That's game number 10 before he played meaningful snaps and burned his red shirt over garbage time against Ole Miss and Texas and played a little bit against Maine as well. Like, why are you burning a red shirt over all that? So then the year before it was Tolly Walker with why wasn't he being the main guy when he was the best back on the team Oklahoma had? So,
Yeah, what do you think about Tatum? I said, all right, first off, do you think any of these losses surprised BV? I don't think so.
maybe Dasan McCullough. I don't know. That's just a guess. I'm not there. I'm not in those rooms where they're having those conversations. Maybe it was a mutual thing. I don't know.
Hey, will you explain this again? Greg's wanting us to explain this again about the rosters.
Yeah. Yes. The NCAA and their new scholarship thing, kind of as a result of the House settlement, 105 total rosters availability.
Give an example of how many OU's at probably before the season start. This next season, where were they at? 120.
I have the spreadsheet in front of me, so give me.
Okay, I'll give you a minute to pull it up.
Get that pulled up.
Yeah. Roster management has been a weakness, Mess says. Are you talking about as far as who's playing? Are you talking about position-wise? I do think the McCullough stuff, I think it's like they moved him, and I think he played good when they moved him, like he just was injured. But I also wonder what could he have been if they'd have left him at D end. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's my thoughts.
Like he was a freshman, wasn't he a freshman All-American Conference All-American in Big Ten?
Indiana.
So I wonder, like, okay, and I get it, but I'm just saying. Now, Nwaneri, I know a lot of people say, oh, he's not going to come to OU. I don't know where he's going to end up, but I'm sure you would like him. They liked him last year. Why wouldn't they like him this year?
Less stuff was ruined over that situation. I don't know if it was or not. That would be the only way that they wouldn't want him. But yeah, he was the number one edge in the class of 2024. Chose Missouri over Oklahoma, went down to the wire. Yeah, I think they're going to want him if they could get him. Like, he's a very talented player. I don't know where he's going to go. And to answer the question about Oklahoma, by my count, unless I missed somebody, Oklahoma was at 126 players.
That includes PWOs.
Yes, that includes everybody. So,
and they have to get down to 105. That's not counting the kids coming in from the recruiting class.
Yes, and
so that puts you at 143.
Yes, I would have to go through of okay, what are the guys that are out of eligibility, plus they're bringing in, is it 19? I think it's 19.
If you count the two, I think PWO.
The two, Sean Hutton, and then is it Seth
Freeman? Seth
Freeman from Moore, long snapper.
So that puts you over 140 that you have to get down to 105.
Well, they're losing guys, so they're gonna get there's gonna be more cuts. That's why you're seeing like Chapman McCown's entering the portal. There's a few other players entering the portal that were not on scholarship, and it's because of all of that. And even if the SEC rule wasn't in place, Oklahoma would probably sit at that 85 for pure scholarships, where your 20 are your guys of your long snapper, PWO, Ben Anderson, your kickers and punters who aren't on scholarship, and then your special team guys that are walk-ons. Yeah, it's a small roster, Greg. I don't understand the NCAA's reasoning for changing it. I think it's perfectly fine to up the scholarship limit to 105, and then you can still keep walk-ons. But to up it and then eliminate walk-ons essentially is dumb, and it's not good for the sport, in my opinion. And it's going to trickle down all the way to the NAIA level of football, D2, D3, because all these teams have walk-ons, and now they're not going to anymore. So they're going to have to go somewhere.
Yeah, we are doing call-ins. We were waiting till Jeremy got on here because of the camera issue, and we got to figure the layout of it. But we are going to probably do them in the next 5 minutes sooner, Freak. We'll drop the phone lines for everybody if they want to call in. Hunter, what do you think about this question? Any chance Bass plays in the bowl game?
I would say probably not. He hasn't been
the same thing.
He might have suited up. I don't think he did for the Temple game, because I think he was still recovering from his ACL injury that he sustained first week of December a year ago in the state championship last year at Heritage Hall. And then after that, once you get conference play, you can't suit up all your guys. There's a limit there. so he wasn't suiting up. I wouldn't imagine him playing in the bowl game or even suiting up.
Yeah. Hey, let's do something I think that could be interesting here. Say, give me, out of anybody that's in the portal right now, give me 2 names that you would say, I would love to have them in Oklahoma.
Well, I mean, the first one is Williams DeWerney, but I don't know the
Okay, give me somebody else. Give me somebody else
surrounding all that.
How about Kendall Daniels?
Yeah, Kendall Daniels would be great. I mean, very talented safety cheetah from Beggs, right down the road from about 2 hours or so away from Norman. And OU was in on him out of high school. I think Micah Hudson's another name.
What about, I like Concepcion as well. And Barron Brown at Kentucky is a wide receiver. I think it's really good.
I'm a big Malik Murphy fan. I think Malik Murphy.
Okay, you like him better than you like Murphy better than Mensah?
Yes, because I think he's proven it a little bit more. He wasn't really given a chance at Texas. Then he goes to Duke this year, has a solid year, struggled with some turnovers there, but still all in all, some good numbers from him. And I think with a coach like Ben Arbuckle, he could really do well in that sort of system and that coach in his corner.
Yeah, and A&M lineman Purple Orca says, I like him a lot too. They have a couple in the portal. And you're right, Mac, 100% on this. He got hurt last year in a high school playoff game. That's correct. So Cam Dewberry and Kendall Daniels, Jenna says. Dan Lanning's not in the portal. Lori, not in the portal. Dan Lanning will not be in the portal.
Jonte Cook is another one, but again.
Yes. OU was in on him out of high school, though. OU was in on him out of high school.
I wouldn't imagine OU is going to.
Why is he wanting to leave there, Hunter?
That's the other thing is the way in which he left was odd. Like it was midseason. Like Texas is in the college football playoff. They played for an SEC championship 4 days ago. I don't know how many days it's been now. 4. And yeah, he left. So in the way in which he left makes you wonder. And yeah, Oregon A&M. It's probably what it's going to be. I don't think it's.
You know what I'm ready to see though, Hunter?
What?
You know what I'm ready to see? I'm ready to see on Twitter when On3 puts, these are the teams interested or being, this guy is being contacted by these teams. I'm ready to see OU's name on some of these lists. I think that's the thing. Like you see the names and it seems like it's Oregon. It seems like it's Georgia. It seems like it's Ole Miss. And you can almost guess who's going to be in there on every conversation. I'm ready to see OU's name in there.
You look at the thing that kind of starts all of pursuit, in my opinion, in the transfer portal is the money, the NIL programs. Look at Ole Miss. Look at Oregon.
They don't have. Do you think they have more money than OU? Or you think they use it differently?
I think they spend more money and allocate it more towards their top end players.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Yes.
Now, I also don't think what Ole Miss is doing is going to be sustainable to win. I mean, obviously, they didn't make the playoffs this year with the easiest schedule out there. And they didn't make the playoff. And they had the best. They were number 1 portal, were they not last year?
They were. Look at what they brought in. I mean, they completely.
You know what they don't have, though? They don't have depth. They didn't have depth. Okay. And that, to me, they had top talent. But to me, the depth comes from the high school ranks. That's where you got to build your team. And then you got to hit on the top-ranked portal guys. That's the way it's got to be. I think we might have Jeremy on here. What's up, Jerm?
What is up, fellas? I'm loving the new background. Way to surprise me tonight.
We didn't need to surprise you.
The cream color is hot. I like it.
And Mess dropped some of your numbers in there, Hunter. Chuck says, guys, we might as well just get off the podcast and just let the big dogs do what they do and just see what we get in the spring game. Well, Chuck, that's what's going to happen anyway. We're not picking who the player they're going after. We're just talking about it.
I'm confused. Things. Did I miss something?
No. We're just talking about portal guys and stuff, Jerm. You haven't missed anything tonight. You had the big news of the guys that went to the portal, and you see who's OU is going to get out of the portal. They got to get some. Yeah, this is funny. Jenna says Germ was taking an official visit with R.J. Young and Teddy and Gabe. I don't think that would go over
comment.
very well.
I'm not going to comment on other podcasts.
What else is going on tonight, Germ? Before we open the phone lines up for a little bit.
Nothing. I think Dasan McCullough enters, Jalil Farooq. I mean, those are big name guys, but I like Dasan McCullough. I think is an interesting one, Jay, because this is his second transfer too. I mean, he came from Indiana to OU. Now he's going to OU elsewhere. It's kind of the story of the name of the game right now in college sports, specifically college football.
Yeah,
but I do want to attest to some things. I know I just now got on here, guys, and I'm getting ready to turn my camera on. But the
please don't.
The people who are saying, well, OU's just obviously not going to spend. We don't know that yet. Now, if you go based on past years, you could say that. But as of now, who's landing someone big already? Who has?
No, it's not the landing. It's these people are in contention that you see all the time. That's what we were kind of talking about. Is you see stuff like this guy's looking at these three schools. That's what I brought up. Is a lot of times you don't see OU's name mentioned in those, and you see Oregon's all the time.
Got the jacket again, Jerm. There you go.
It's cold out, Hunter. What
I didn't think you would wear it again.
Situation like?
I don't know.
No one knows. Like they've kind of spread it out a lot more than other teams have. I mean, getting walk on some money,
but that's less now at the roster limit.
Money, yes, that's all going to change. And then if Oklahoma's going to go all in and kind of in the ways that the signs are showing that they are, and then you also have the revenue sharing with who they brought in, Randall Stevenson, former AT&T CEO for that. So yeah, I think OU's going to change their ways and how they're going to use their money. You just have to see what they actually do. Are they going to go and do whatever it takes to land a top guy in the portal? I don't know yet.
Hey, I got a theory on something I want to throw by y'all. Hunter, you're an age of a college student. Jerm, me and you have kids that some of them, like my son's getting ready to go off to college. This question of NIL and portal, if it was my son and he entered the portal, there's probably two things I'm looking at. One, how much money are you going to pay him? Two, development wise, okay? And will it help him for the NFL? But if you look at the portal, the only position I think that really the development matters as much is O-lineman. Wide receiver, it's all about when you go to the combine and what you do. Most of it.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, in quarterback, all this stuff. So you don't need to be developed as much. You can go to play for whoever, get a big paycheck, and then go to the combine and kill it, and you're going to get drafted high. It doesn't matter if you're playing for whoever you're playing for, because
it does a little bit though.
No, it really doesn't. You make money in college, and then you go make money in the pro, and you do good at the combine.
Jay, you can.
No, it doesn't matter.
You can perform better at the combines and all those things if you've been developed better. That's a fact. Your footwork would be better and things like that.
Yeah, but most of these guys that we're talking about are pretty good players as is.
Yeah, I think a lot of those guys are going to have things like footwork down, or they wouldn't be.
When we're talking
here's
about,
here's my point.
Wait, we're talking about guys, in my opinion, who are. I thought you were talking about. Let's just say a freshman or a sophomore that's heading to another university
here's my point.
To go be with a quarterback coach.
Okay, but listen. Here's my point. My point is this. I think wide receivers, quarterbacks, running backs. The NIL money's more important than anything else. Those three positions, because if they're talented, they're probably going to perform well. They're probably going to go perform well in the combine. They're worried about getting some instant money.
Unfortunately, talent doesn't translate. Look at OU, Jay. They've had some and haven't translated quarterback.
No, I'm saying when you're going to get guys out of the portal and you're paying money, I think those positions are more looking at it for probably NIL is all I'm saying.
Oh, I mean,
I may be totally off base on that. I may be totally off.
I saw that someone, and I don't even want to mention numbers really, so I don't want to say what I was about to say, but I do want to get to the I can't remember the name, Humlet or something. It talks about Andrew Anthony. It kind of how key it would be for him to come back. I think even bigger than that would be Jaden Gibson.
Yeah. Jaden Gibson,
his injury was less significant, I think.
What about Burks?
Oh, they're similar injuries.
They're similar.
You don't know necessarily yet, at least if it's less significant or not. But Jaden Gibson has more eligibility left, and Andrew Anthony's also had with how bad it's been for him to recover from that injury. It's also happened before, a major injury when he was at Michigan. So, and it's the second time now for him. So, yeah, of the two, I think Jaden Gibson is more important for Oklahoma to retain. But honestly, if they could keep both of them, that's really good for Oklahoma for 2025.
Yeah, we'll drop the phone link, Hunter. Hey, one thing I want to say about Chuck's comment, and I agree with
40 minutes before the phones are open, man.
Hey, one thing I want to say about Chuck's comment about the players, they don't care about the schools anymore. I think for the most part, you're dead on with that, because it's just it's not like I want to go graduate from. Some of these players have been in 3 to 4 different schools. It's not about that.
A lot of I mean, I don't know what you're really talking about with the school as. Are you talking about a brand? Brand's a lot.
I don't think brand matters anymore.
I agree, Jay. That's what I'm getting at. Or are you talking about
I don't think tradition matters. Tradition doesn't matter anymore.
I don't think it really matters. The school itself, unless you're going to a Stanford or even a Texas or one of those high-end academic schools in Notre Dame, that doesn't really matter. Like, you can get a lot of guys have business degrees. You can get a business degree from just about anywhere. Like, the schooling part, it doesn't matter anymore.
But before we get to J Mosh and John here, the fan base, to me, I'm the same fan as I was in the 1980s. Like, it has. I mean, I get frustrated with some of the NIL stuff, but I'm still all in as a fan. I don't know that the fan base changes that much.
Well, and also, real quick, I got to say something. Also, it does go both ways, because you are cutting players too, so they can't really be all in if you're going to cut players too as part of the game. The game's changed, period. It's changed. It's not the same.
And real quick, John, I'll add you on in just a second. Let me say one more thing. Comment in here about like wrong tradition matters. What the heck? To the players, it doesn't. To the fans, absolutely, yes.
Fans, it does, yeah.
To everyone else around the sport, yes, tradition matters. But to the
some players it does. Some it does, but not most.
For the vast majority, I would say it does not. With that said, John, what's up?
Hey guys, yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't want a sunshine pump, and I certainly don't want to bash players, because neither one of those two things are a good thing. But at the same time, I just want to say we are losing so far zero productivity to the portal, none. Okay, and that's and I'm just as far as the guys, to the extent that we're losing anything, we're losing something we're losing the hope that a really talented player may not be injured next year. There's no reason to think that these guys would be healthy next year either. There's just not statistically.
I agree.
And so I just think we got to take it with a grain of salt. And, there's guys that look good on paper. And, McCullough was brought in to be a cheetah. Venables has different ideas for pass rushers. He wasn't the cheetah. Kendall Dolby was. And it's because Kendall Dolby has certain qualities and attributes that don't show up on a scouting report, and so you do have to stack top 5 classes on average to be successful. But at the same time, a lot of these guys, they just don't end up being what they were supposed to be, and that's just the reality. I think, there's other things. Look how good the 23 class looked coming in. By far, the biggest impact player out of that class is Kendall Dolby. I think by far. And who saw that coming?
That's a good point.
So
You're right. You don't know how guys are going to pan out. You just don't.
Hey,
And you
I
don't
will
know if
say-
guys are going to be injured.
Did
Yeah.
you guys and the caller's right, John? You're right on this. They aren't losing productivity necessarily from this year's team. Now, I saw Jackson and maybe a couple other people said, "What do you mean, Farooq and Anderson and McCullough?" But this year, those guys did nothing.
no,
Even
that's what I'm saying.
McCullough played a little bit, but you're right. I don't know if you guys talked about it. With McCullough leaving, I think the door is that Kendall Daniels, in my opinion, would be just a significant get in the portal at cheetah position. Now, if Dolby was to come back, you could put him at a corner. I know
Sure.
that would be Dolby and Bowen at corners, and the size isn't great, but man,
Don't-
Kendall
don't-
Daniels, guys, his experience
Hey,
would be
first off,
massive.
nobody knows how Dolby's going to come back off an injury. First off,
Agreed.
I mean, that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean that guy, that guy just the thing about that guy is he can do everything.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's
Yeah.
like the Swiss Army knife. I mean, he's the one guy you can move around position to position and still develop. I've never seen
Yeah.
anything like that. You know, it's just
Yeah.
these other guys, you try moving them around and it just, they just end up never really reaching their potential. But
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
stuff, John. Appreciate the call. Thanks, John. Hey, I want to answer Marjorie's question. This is going to be an answer that goes both ways from whoever you talk to. Here's what I'll say. I think you could talk to a lot of recruits and recruits' parents and say, it meant something to me. That's part of the reason why. It was part of the reason. It wasn't the only reason I chose OU. It's part of it. So I do think it does help. Okay. And guys, you can take the word soul mission out of it. Every school does this in some particular way. Just take that out of it. Okay. Maybe OU does it a little bit more than other players. A lot of schools do.
A lot of places, yes.
So,
OU
but I
talks
don't think
about-
that's the big thing. That doesn't matter. Soul mission, either way, either good or bad. The problem is you got to go pay in the portal if you want players. Period. I mean that's what it
And
is.
again,
I mean,
Jay, people, we can bash it all they want. Players and parents care more about money than soul mission. That's add a word in front of that, and I agree with you, Student for Life. Put certain in front of players, and I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
Certain players and parents care more about money, and then certain players and parents care more about soul mission. That's a fact.
hey, and let me answer John's question here. He says, I usually agree with Serge on almost everything, but acting like tradition is now dead in college football because of NIL's B to the S. Here's what I want to say, John. John, listen. I'm not saying it's dead. What I'm saying is this. A player picking to go to Michigan over whatever, most players are not picking it because of tradition. They're picking it because of other stuff. Now, does that mean tradition's completely gone? No, tradition still matters. They still have Michigan, Ohio State. You still have OU versus Texas. You still have tradition, but it's not the main. Go back a while ago, it was, I'm going there because of tradition. Now you're going there, tradition's still there, but it's not the main reason. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. It doesn't matter as much as it did, like you said, to the players. That's all we were saying. We weren't saying to the fans that it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
In the
Zion.
games itself, it doesn't matter. It's not the selling point that it used to be when you're trying to recruit a player of, look at the tradition we have here at Oklahoma, or the tradition we have here at Texas, or Michigan, Ohio State, Bama, any of those schools. It's just not the same.
And you're right. Hey, wait, real quick, Jeremy. He says Dent and Bogsfather still believe in tradition. I'll tell you that much. And I don't doubt that a lot of players' parents do. And I don't doubt that a lot of players do believe in tradition. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there are a lot of players that it's not the end all of why they're going to a school.
It's
That's
not
all
why
I'm
they're
saying. I'm
signed
not throwing
on
it
the
away.
line.
Yeah, please. I'm not throwing it away. I'm saying, I love the tradition of Oklahoma. That's one of the reasons I went there, but also the other stuff. I'm not saying I'm only going to Oklahoma because of the tradition. That's what I'm saying. Don't hear me wrong.
Hey, I'm going to say my quote that I'm going to keep it going probably for a year to 2 years straight. So many assume, so few know. We can sit here and say, well, the players care more about money, or the players care more about soul mission. Each to their own. Each player cares what they want, period. I'm not going to get into, well, there's more kids. It's massive. It's a massive amount that care about the money. Whatever. no one knows that unless you're talking to the players. And I'm not right
Yeah.
now. So
And Sooner Freak says, do the NIL renewal the following year if they stay on? That's a great question. I don't know how they're handling all that. I really don't know.
How their contracts are set up, if it's a year by year or a 4-year deal. I would assume that probably varies player to player, and I don't think that's ever going to really be public. It's just going to be kind of an assumption.
I would assume, though, Hunter, I would assume in the NIL world and transfer portal world and roster management deal, that it would be something you sit down at the end of the year and you have a conversation with the players and say, hey, you did this year, you made this much money. This year, you're evaluated at this much money. This is what we had to offer you. Decide if you want to come back or go somewhere else. I would think that's how it works. I don't know.
Part of the exit interviews, end of the year meetings that every program in the country has, is where they talk about the money side of things more than just on the field and the future for your development and all of that.
Yeah, hey, there was a comment here I wanted to get to, and it's not that one right there. It was a good comment. I wanted to talk about it. It was Chief. Until they limit the transfer rule and cap NIL, every year will be a free agent frenzy. Loyalty is a thing of the past in college football. It's really a thing of the past in a lot of areas. And I'm not going to sit here, guys, take my word for it right now. I'm not going to sit here and put Danny's comments on here just because he's trying to get me fired up, okay? Not going to do it, so you guys don't need to either. I'm going to show the other ones.
Hey, who said, first off, I don't know where T-Bill's going with this, but who said the brand is dead?
I said it doesn't matter as much to players as it used to, and I don't know.
But you didn't say it's dead.
No, I just said it doesn't matter to the players in the same way that it did in the past. It's not as much about the brand of the school. There's a lot more things that are on the forefronts of players' minds and players who are making a decision of one school versus another. So not sure how that's incorrect. I don't know. Don't really care.
Hey, and Zaya says, I'm going to watch some exit interviews again of the players here on the portal. I think that's a great thing. See what they say. I mean, I think that's
Chuck says you're assuming, Hunter.
Okay, cool.
It is an opinion, Chuck. You're right. It's an opinion.
I can't know for fact. I mean, I'm not talking to every player in the portal as a rank for me brand versus money versus everything else, academics, development, all of that. Like I'm just putting 2 and 2 together based off of how the sport is changing and with the rise of NIL and all that. So
yeah. And Selene says, and she makes a great point. That's exactly why they did hire that, to try to get more of a model together. And then Eric, I don't think it's just about dead. I disagree. And here's why I say I would disagree about that is I talk to people quite a bit that don't live anywhere near Oklahoma. And I've talked to 3 people that live, 2 in basically Knoxville, Tennessee, another one in Kentucky. And when you bring up OU, their thought is, yeah, that's surprising OU this year. They'll be back because of their name, their brand. So it's not dead. It's all over. People still think of OU as a powerhouse, traditional football team. Okay. It's not dead. Now, the longer you go with 6 and 6, 6 and 7 seasons, Eric, I agree with you there that the longer you go, the harder it is to get back.
Hey, Eric, I think that's a little different though when you're looking at what people
in the Pac-12
and Pac-2 country, now Big Ten country, versus in SEC country and across the rest of the nation. Like, I think you're going to get a little bit of different opinions based on the geography there.
Yeah, but Greg, here's the thing. If I was a player and the NIL was out there, I'd definitely be trying to get more money. I mean, that's probably their thought is I'm going to go try to see if I can get more money. Just let me throw this out there. If you're a player and you don't know if you're going to have an NFL career or not, I'd be trying to make as much money in college as I could.
Why would they not? Why would they not?
And that's where you're
Right.
seeing a lot of these portal guys that are on their third or fourth team. They're not going to make it in the NFL, a lot of them. And they're trying to get as much money from 18 to 22 as you can. Free school and free college and money. And here's what I would ask FanStop. And by the way, if you haven't checked out the FanStop, check them out, www.thefanstop.com. Use code SURGE, you'll get 10% off your first 3 months. What I would ask FanStop, along with other companies that do merchandise, that's another reason how you can tell if brand's gone is, are they not selling any more gear? I still bet OU sells quite a bit of gear nationwide.
Yeah, that's
So,
I mean, you want to talk about logos of college football. Oklahoma is
Yeah.
up there with just about anyone. And I mean, even if they continue to struggle, if they were, they're still probably going to be up there with just about anyone in that aspect.
yeah. This is a new reality. There will be ebbs and flows of power for teams due to NIL and portal. As a perennial blue blood, we hate it, but reality's parity has come to college football. Agree 1,000%, Joe. There will be ebb and flows, AKA Michigan last year was a national champion. This year, they were barely over 500. And I think you're going to see that with other teams. I mean, it's just going to be a thing. And I think with NIL, it's a fairer playing field. I think with the 12-team playoff, it's a much
more
fairer pay, more parity. Correct. I would agree with that. You're still going to have teams like Georgia and I mean, you're going to have teams that are up here. And
Even though,
get up there.
even those teams like Georgia, I mean, Georgia lost 2 games this year, lost to Alabama and Ole Miss. They don't usually lose those games, especially
when they should have lost a couple more. Georgia Tech should have beat them.
They struggled, but they took care of business twice against Texas, once on the road and then once with a backup quarterback.
Hey, Danny, I would love you to list 24 teams that have a better brand than OU.
Jay,
I'll wait.
It's up there like that. That's just
I'll
ridiculous.
wait. And SMU is not above OU, by the way.
Ridiculous take, dude. Please.
Texas has the most money, and the way this NIL and portal only helps them to be able to win that every year. Everyone else is tier 2 and below. I'll say this: you're right on
rankings, guys.
What?
I think what needs to happen is you need to define brand, because brand has nothing to do with how many championships you're winning. It has nothing to do with what your
brand does have. Brand does have to do with how many championships you won. That's how you got your brand.
Yeah, that's part of
it. Brand has to do with your overall product. And
a lot of the brand
sales,
is
merchandise,
the logo. Like, well, are you able to put it on a hat and it sell like Andy? Are you able to put it on a shirt? Is it nationally known? Is it this, that, and the other? Look at the TV money for that team. Yeah, you look at all that. Oklahoma is still at the top of college football brands, and it would take a lot for them not to be.
And I agree with John a little bit on this. When you start not winning, your sales, I mean, it's like
that
anything.
It'll
affect your sales.
Absolutely, John, you're right.
But even then, like, I don't think it would have been fair to say that Texas is not a top brand over the last 10 years that they were bad. They were still the Longhorn brand. I mean,
and they had some bad years.
Yes, but the logo sold itself the entire way.
Nobody said the Texas brand was gone.
Yeah. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how it's copium either, Danny, but I think we've talked about that enough tonight.
Yeah. Anyway, what else, guys, before we close tonight?
That's it. More guys are going to hit the portal tomorrow, and hopefully OU who's the biggest guy right now that you think could be linked to OU? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Could be linked to OU?
I mean, people put in the chat the Indiana receiver. I don't know if that's true.
I would say.
I would think he'd be pretty high up on the list if he visited. You got a trivia? What about a Christmas trivia for Dow Post? You got one?
Christmas trivia.
I thought you might know one off the top of your head.
I'm sure I can get one, Jay.
Hey, Danny, I don't know if
I got it right here.
Danny, also, wait, real quick. Danny, just remember, OU's a lock to play Tulane in a bowl game. So there's that.
If you're going to put that in the chat, at least spell portaling right. Jeez. Otherwise, your credibility just goes downhill, in my opinion. Just maybe like when you said OU is going to play Tulane or Army in the bowl game. Anyway, Nicolas Cage Christmas movie. And by the way, Danny, you said those same 2 words 3 nights ago and you're wrong. Funny. Anyway, Jay, Nicolas Cage Christmas movie.
Nicolas Cage Christmas movie. I don't know. Is that the trivia question?
I may be old, but I can spell portaling, bud. There it is right there. Family Man.
Wait, that's not a Christmas movie.
Absolutely is.
Germ, just because it snows does not mean it's a Christmas movie.
Okay.
I-
Danny,
I
you know I'm kidding
no.
about the spelling, but you called me an old man, so
Hey,
chill.
real quick, I'm going to Google it up and it won't say Christmas. movie, but whatever.
I would, from what I gather from Google, I've never watched the movie. I would say that it's a Christmas movie, from the movie cover to the movie description. All of that seems like it's centered around Christmas. So
Yeah, it's the Family Man. It is. And by the way, I'm
It's
holding my
100%
phone.
a Christmas movie. You're right.
I'm holding my phone in a Walmart parking lot. Okay. So I don't know what you mean by that, but that's great, man. I'll see you on here tomorrow night again. It's been great, Jay.
Hey, it's been a good day. It's been Tuesday. I think we got a Thunder Lives next, so we got to get off here for that. But appreciate everybody being on here as always. You guys are great. You keep the chat going. It's been fun. It always is. Appreciate Hunter dropping on here at the first and staying on. We will see everybody tomorrow night. Have a great Wednesday.